Hey guys, I'm going to be reading out loud to you just for about 5 minutes. And this is our first short story called The Necklace by Guy de Maupassant. And this is a story about a French woman in Paris, France in about 1850 or so. So this is 19th century Paris, France. And this is a story of a woman who is very unhappy in her place in life. And we're going to be discussing more about that and the concept of status in life, like your position socially in life. So, without further ado, here we go. She was one of those pretty and charming girls born as if by an accident of fate into a family of clerks. With no dowry, no prospects, no way of any kind of being met, understood, loved, and married by a man both prosperous and famous, she was finally married to a minor clerk in the Ministry of Education. She dressed plainly because she could not afford fine clothes, but was as unhappy as a woman who has come down in the world. For women have no family rank or social class. With them, beauty, grace, and charm take the place of birth and breeding. Their natural poise, their instinctive good taste, and their mental cleverness are the sole guiding principles that make daughters of the common people the equals of ladies in high society. She grieved incessantly, feeling that she had been born for all the little niceties and luxuries of living. She grieved over the shabbiness of her apartment, the dinginess of the walls, the worn-out appearance of the chairs, the ugliness of the draperies. All these things, which another woman of her class would not even have noticed, gnawed at her and made her furious. The sight of the Brighton girl who did her humble housework roused in her disconsolate regrets and wild daydreams. She would dream of silent chambers draped with oriental tapestries and lighted by tall bronze floor lamps, and of two handsome butlers in knee breeches, who, drowsy from the heavy warmth cast by the central stove, dozed in a large overstuffed armchair. She would dream of great reception halls hung with old silks of fine furniture, filled with priceless curios, and of small, stylish, scented sitting rooms, just right for the 4 o'clock chat with some intimate friends, with distinguished and sought-after men whose attention every woman envies and longs to attract. When dining at the round table, covered for the third day with the same cloth opposite her husband, who had raised the cover of the soup tureen, declaring delightedly, "Ah, a good stew! There's nothing I like better." She would dream of fashionable dinner parties, of gleaming silverware, of tapestries making the walls alive with characters out of history and strange birds in a fairyland forest. She would dream of delicious dishes served on wonderful china, of gallant compliments whispered and listened to with a sphinx-like smile, as one eats the rosy flesh of a trout or nibbles at the wings of a grouse. She had no evening clothes, no jewels, nothing. But those were the things she wanted. She felt that was the kind of life for her. She so much longed to please, be envied, be fascinating, and sought after. So I'm going to stop there just for a second and ask, why do you think that this woman is so unhappy? What is she describing? Why is she so unhappy? So I want you to pause and think about that, and we'll talk about it as a class. And now I'm going to keep reading. She had a well-to-do friend, a classmate of convent school days, whom she would no longer go see, simply because she would feel so distressed on returning home. And she would weep for days on end from vexation, regret, despair, and anguish. Then one evening, her husband came home proudly, holding out a large envelope. "Look," he said, "I've got something for you." She excitedly tore open the envelope and pulled out a printed card bearing these words: "The Minister of Education and Madame Georges Ramponneau beg Monsieur and Mademoiselle Loisel to do them the honor of attending an evening reception at the ministerial mansion on Friday, January 18. Instead of being delighted, as her husband had hoped, she scornfully tossed the invitation on the table, murmuring, "What good is that to me?" "But, my dear, I thought you'd be thrilled to death. You never get a chance to go out, and this is a real affair, a wonderful one. I had an awful time getting a card. Everybody wants one. It's much sought after, and not many clerks have a chance at one. You'll see all the most important people there." She gave him an irritated glance and burst out impatiently, "What do you think I have to go in?" He hadn't given that a thought. He stammered, "Why, the dress you wear when we go to the theater. That looks quite nice, I think." He stopped talking, dazed and distracted, to see his wife burst out weeping. Two large tears slowly rolled down from the corners of her eyes to the corners of her mouth. He gasped, "Why, what's the matter? What's the trouble?" Okay, so we are going to stop there for today, and I want you to be thinking about, why is the woman so unhappy? And why does the invitation have the opposite effect on the Madame Loisel as the one her husband expected? So why is she so upset about an invitation to this fancy party when her husband thought that she would be so excited about it?